Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers reasonable suspicion, stop and ID laws, and witness identifications, and is brought to us by Crime in All's channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. Before we dive into the interaction, I want to give a big thanks to the sponsor of this episode, Surfshark. Surfshark is one of the most secure VPNs on the market, and they offer their services for a fraction of the price of their competition. We all know that Surfshark is one of the most secure VPN tunnels on the market, but a Surfshark subscription also allows its users to bypass region restrictions on popular platforms like YouTube and Netflix and view content that is not normally available in your country. Thanks to Surfshark, I can still watch all my favorite shows and movies even if they were removed from the US Netflix catalog. Not only that, but Surfshark also offers a ton of additional features to enhance your security and browsing experience. My personal favorite is Surfshark Alert, which sends you personalized alerts if any of your sensitive information is leaked online. You can even scan your credit or debit cards and get notifications if any suspicious transactions occur. You can access your Surfshark service on any of your devices or all of them at once. And with over 3,200 servers in over 100 countries worldwide, you can have peace of mind no matter where you go or which device you're on. Right now, you can get a Surfshark subscription for the price of a cup of coffee, along with 4 months completely free when you visit the link in the description. With 24-hour customer service and a 30-day money-back guarantee, you have absolutely nothing to lose. So click on the link in the description and claim your 4 extra months now. Thanks again to Surfshark for sponsoring this episode. On October 10th, 2023, officers with the Brookhaven Police Department responded to a call regarding a suspect pulling on car door handles in a hotel parking lot in Brookhaven, Georgia. Upon arrival, the officers found Brian English in the parking lot and detained him. The interaction that followed was captured on officer body camera.
Hello, how you doing? Good. The hotel called us and said that you weren't a guest here. You mind going to talk to that gentleman, please? Says he's a guest here.
I've been attacking. I don't need me walking up on him aggressively, huh?
Don't stay with me. Go with Tusso. Making sure.
So this is a Hilton card, ma'am.
Hang on a second. This is the Hilton Hotel.
It's a DoubleTree.
This is the DoubleTree by Hilton.
Don't look like that.
Hang on a second.
Did y'all call about this guy here? He says he's a guest here and he's trying to show us a room key.
No, the gentleman there, who just went upstairs, he saw him went outside to put some of his things in the car and saw him opening all the car doors, trying to open the car doors. And so then when he approached him and asked him, "What are you doing? I need you to do that." He said no. He didn't care. He just went to the next car, trying to.
Oh, you're still doing them? When y'all told him to stop?
Yes. He kept going in.
Could you come out with us just for a second? Okay, I appreciate it. Yes.
The guy you have, he's my helper. He was going to the gas station. It's not the same guy. It's not the same.
Well, let me get her to verify that for me.
I didn't see him.
Oh, you didn't see him?
The gentleman, let me get his room number.
Okay.
I'll tell you.
No, because we just pulled in, and my helper went to the gas station to get an ice cream.
Okay. It's apparently whoever that we were looking for was pulling on people's door
It was
handles.
not, but it wasn't him, because I was
Okay.
right here when the guy described him. I go, oh no, not a black hoodie, because I know my helper's got a
Okay.
black hoodie.
So they're saying it's him, so.
What's your boss's name?
Shane Bonamini,
What do you do?
Lake Tile.
Lay tile? Okay.
Hey, where you at?
For a job or
I'm sorry?
you in town for a job?
Yes,
or?
sir.
Okay.
Hey, Shane, come down here, man. The police got me and they're telling me that I don't belong here.
Alright, I'll come right out.
Thank you.
You have a vehicle parked out here other than your boss's car?
No, I do not.
Okay. So what we got was a call of a white male with a black hoodie walking around in the parking lot flipping door handles. This is an area that is known to us to be the victim of a lot of entering autos.
They have videos.
Okay.
Show me a video of me flipping a door handle.
Okay.
Show me.
We're not going to show you anything right now. We're just talking.
Okay.
Not in any trouble. Would you identify yourself, please?
No, I didn't do anything. Hang
Okay,
on a
well
second.
right now you are in a place in a suspicious manner, and you need to
Hang on a
identify
second.
yourself
My
by the
boss
law.
is coming and he's going to tell you
So
that
you
I
refusing to
belong
provide a
here.
name and date of birth? Is that what you're saying?
My boss is right there.
Okay. Should I ask him for your identification, or will you provide it?
My boss is right there.
Should I ask him for your identification, or will you provide it?
You could ask whatever you want. My boss is right there. I didn't
understand.
do anything.
What is your name?
I didn't do anything.
What's your name?
I don't answer questions.
You don't answer questions.
No, sir.
Yeah, he just kind of took off, so. So he's the only one that saw that guy, and he was saying it was that guy. So.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I appreciate it.
Okay, well, you can either answer my question or you can go and handcuff for impeding an
Hang on a second.
The officer threatens to arrest Mr. English for, quote-unquote, impeding an investigation if he does not identify himself. We will explore the Georgia's stop and identify laws later in this episode, but as we have discussed many times before here on ATA, even in states that require citizens to identify themselves under certain circumstances, officers cannot arrest individuals who refuse to identify themselves unless there is reasonable articulable suspicion that they are involved in criminal activity. Here, Mr. English was suspected of pulling on the door handles of vehicles in the parking lot, which could potentially result in a conviction for criminal attempt to commit entering an automobile, as well as the offense of loitering or prowling, which we will discuss later at further length. According to section 16-8-18 of the Georgia Code, quote, if any person shall enter any automobile or other motor vehicle with the intent to commit a theft or a felony, he shall be guilty of a felony. Although Mr. English was not accused of successfully opening any doors or entering any vehicles, section 16-4-1 of the Georgia Code states that, quote, a person commits the offense of criminal attempt when, with intent to commit a specific crime, he performs any act which constitutes a substantial step toward the commission of that crime. In the 2011 case of Brown v. State, the Third Division of the Court of Appeals of Georgia upheld a conviction for attempted entering an automobile against an individual who was observed trying to pull a vehicle's door open several times, finding that the act of repeatedly pulling at a vehicle's door constituted a so-called substantial step toward committing the offense of entering a vehicle, and therefore was sufficient to sustain an attempt conviction. Here, Mr. English was suspected of pulling on multiple car door handles a single time rather than a single door multiple times, but a court could still reasonably conclude that this was an attempt to find an unlocked vehicle to enter. However, the only evidence that the officers had to suspect Mr. English was his similarity to the vague description provided by the witness of a quote-unquote white male in a black hoodie, and his presence in the parking lot. Therefore, Mr. English could argue that the officers did not have reasonable particularized suspicion to detain him based on this generic description. Now, all courts have found Terry stop detentions based solely on overly broad suspect descriptions to be unlawful in certain situations, particularly when the detainee does not match the description in one way or another. Some courts have also upheld stops based on more generic descriptions in situations where the suspect was apprehended at or near the scene of the reported crime. For instance, in the 2017 case of U.S. versus Felix, the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, which has jurisdiction over Georgia, upheld the constitutionality of a stop and frisk of two individuals who met the description of robbery suspects identified only as two young black males wearing black shirts when they were found in relative close proximity to the crime scene within 10 minutes of the crime occurring. Accordingly, although courts determine whether reasonable suspicion exists on a case-to-case basis by considering the so-called totality of the circumstances, it is certainly possible that a court could conclude that the officers had reasonable suspicion to detain Mr. English based on the witness's report and description.
Jay! I did nothing. Here, look. I got nothing.
Okay, as soon as I tried to describe him, I said, oh, my helper's wearing a black hoodie. He went to the gas station to get the ice cream. And I knew that was going to happen. I knew it.
Did you just make contact with them? With the people at the front desk?
I had to get my key rekeyed.
Okay.
No, the guy that saw him. Yes, sir.
He's refusing to identify himself. He's in a problem right now because there's this person in the parking lot and he's refusing to wear his identification. Would you speak with him so he doesn't have to go to jail?
His name's Brian English. Yes, sir. He's not the guy you're looking for.
Okay.
That's B-R-I-A-N?
The guy said it was a homeless guy with a black hoodie, and I'm like going, son of a, I know he's got a black hoodie.
Who's the guy? Was it the tall guy in the blue?
All right, Mr. Bryan, so we can expedite this. When's your birthday, sir? I just need your birthday.
He came out in the parking lot and pointed out him specifically.
He came in, they stood, and he pointed to him. That's the guy that was pulling on door handles. So at this moment, we're not saying it wasn't.
I know, but it was not him.
Mr. Bryan, when is your birthday, sir?
Hang on a second. I didn't do anything.
I get that, Mr.
okay?
Bryan, but it's right now.
This is my boss. I'm verifying.
I got you, but listen.
He has my room key right there.
Wait, because I don't want to get to go back and forth. Just listen, all right? The fact of the matter is, like he said, we got the description, we told your boss, all right? Only thing we just got to do is confirm that you belong here, all right? With that being said, I need your name and date of birth. If not, I'm not going to ask. I'm just going to put you in handcuffs and take you to jail, all right? So do you mind just giving me your birthday?
Put me in jail for what?
Okay, you want to give me your birthday or no?
I want to know what you're going to do.
Right now, you're impeding the investigation, sir.
I want to know what I did.
It's already been explained to you 3 times, but you're not listening. Do you hear me now? Do you hear me now? Okay, so what we're telling you is, someone came out to us, called 911, said they saw you pulling on door handles. That is a violation of city ordinance.
Hang on a second.
So that's what we're
Show me a video of me pulling door handles.
We don't have to do that.
I just got out of his truck.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, we're just...
So you think that you know how to do our job, but you don't. So now we told you, now you're obstructing our justice. You understand that? It was so simple. All you had to do was give us your name and date of birth.
I just told them my name was Brian English.
No, you didn't.
Unfortunately-
No, your boss did.
You refused to comply several times after being given many options to do so.
There you go. Give his wrist right there.
Somebody pulling door handles, we're gonna come back down here.
Okay.
They're gonna write a statement. Now you're gonna get charged with that.
So if they identify you as the person, then that's gonna be something else.
If you're walking here, you can hang on to his reading.
This is absurd. I agree.
Okay. So at this point, he's being taken to the Cass County Jail, being charged at this juncture with impeding an investigation. Okay? Because he refused to identify himself under Georgia state law.
After Mr. English refuses to provide his date of birth, the officers place him under arrest. Now, while Georgia does not have a traditional so-called stop and identify statute, individuals who refuse to identify themselves may be prosecuted under the state obstruction and loitering laws. According to Section 16-10-24 of the Georgia Code, which is the state's so-called obstruction statute, quote, a person who knowingly and willfully obstructs or hinders any law enforcement officer in the lawful discharge of his or her official duties shall be guilty of a misdemeanor. Courts have construed this statute as criminalizing a citizen's refusal to identify themselves in certain circumstances, with the U.S. District Court in the Northern District of Georgia clarifying in the 1998 case of Gaynor versus Douglas County that this requirement applies when the citizen has been lawfully detained based on reasonable suspicion. Additionally, the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals held in the 2002 case of Brienza versus City of Peachtree City, Georgia, that officers had probable cause to believe that an individual had committed obstruction when he, now quoting, repeatedly refused to identify himself and confirm his date of birth. Accordingly, it seems likely that a court would conclude that the officers had at least arguable probable cause to arrest Mr. English for obstruction. Likewise, the state's loitering law, which is codified in Section 16-11-36 of the Georgia Code, authorizes officers to request that individuals suspected of so-called loitering to identify themselves. The statute states that, quote, a person commits the offense of loitering or prowling when he is in a place at a time or in a manner not usual for law-abiding individuals under circumstances that warrant a justifiable and reasonable alarm or immediate concern for the safety of persons or property in the vicinity. A law enforcement officer shall, prior to any arrest, afford the person an opportunity to dispel any alarm or immediate concern which would otherwise be warranted by requesting the person to identify himself and explain his presence and conduct. The statute also includes an individual's refusal to identify themselves as one of the factors that may be considered in determining whether alarm is warranted by the individual's behavior. If a court determined that the officers had reasonable suspicion to believe that Mr. English was pulling on the car door handles, it could also conclude that this behavior warranted immediate concern for the safety of property in the vicinity, and therefore that there was at least probable cause to support an arrest for loitering or prowling, particularly given the fact that he refused to identify himself.
All he had to do was give us his name and date of birth, and he refused to do it. And he just wanted to play the game. So I had to yell over him so he could hear me. I hate yelling like that. Is that guy coming back downstairs?
Yeah, he said he'd be right back down.
I'm gonna get him to write a statement for us because this. And he says,
He was in the middle of taking his stuff to the car because he has to leave at 3 in the morning, and he said he didn't want to have to take that stuff out.
Yeah.
And what he said when he went out, he saw the guy, he had just let his handle go. He said, excuse me. And then he went to the next car and did their handle.
Do you guys...
Would you stop?
Do you have access to the video out there? He's like, you can't arrest me without video. I'm like, how do you think people went to jail 100 years ago? Like,
so how do you know we don't have a video?
Correct. Even if you showed him the video, he's going to be one of those that goes, well, that's not me. Because he's so defensive, that right there tells me. Because if I'm not doing something, here's my ID, I didn't do anything. Like, So I'll be right back for some video.
As I explained to you, if you're in a place that is suspicious and not normal for a person that is under the law, you have to provide an identification when questioned by a
On
law
top of being
enforcement
here because somebody called saying that there was somebody pulling on door handles.
officer. And then came out to the
So
lobby.
the
and
easy
pointed
thing
you out.
would have been when an officer stopped you and said, "What's your
There's
name?"
another room key right there, Shane.
You could have just identified yourself and we'd be on our way. So at the end of the day, if they said, "No, it wasn't you," you're still going to go to jail because you're impeding with their investigation.
But can I say something?
No,
Are you
you
a
said
sergeant?
enough.
I've said enough.
You said enough.
Before
heard
I
enough.
didn't say enough.
He clearly asked you for your identification to identify yourself. You refused to, kept saying your boss. Are you a child? Is this your parent?
I belong here. We
Okay,
rent
that's not, I
a
didn't say,
room
you
here.
didn't say you didn't belong here. We're trying to confirm and
They got you on video. That's why you're acting so defensive. They got the video. They're pulling it up now, and they're going to record it
Please.
for us.
Okay, you're
And
going
Mr. Man's writing a statement.
Okay,
If you want to go ahead and put him in the
show me
car.
the
So
video.
if you would have just given us your information, you could have gone. Now we're going to do a full investigation.
All right.
Ain't smart.
Way down there at the bottom, Doc.
Shane, you gonna come and get me?
So the gentleman that called, he said that he was pulling on his door handle. But you lying?
On his door? I'd love to see this video. This is.
That's why you're acting so defensive. It all makes sense now.
I just got out of my boss's truck. See, right there's the truck.
All right, Mr. Engle, stay right here for me. All right?
Sure,
I know my partner
sure.
just patted you down, but I'm going to do one because you got to go in my car, all right? Thank you, sir. All right? Go ahead and take a seat for me, please, sir.
Yes, sir. Ouch! Ow! Ow! Can you loosen those up just a little bit, please?
You hold this for me.
Yeah.
I guess.
Thank you.
Go ahead and step out for me, Mr. English, please, sir.
So generally, what you have in the state of Georgia is the ability to allay suspicion, which means that if I see you in the parking lot and you match the description of someone who's reported a crime, you have the ability to be like, yeah, I belong here, here's my ID, here's this, and then you have allayed the suspicion. What you did by refusing to identify yourself is obstruct my investigation and his investigation. Okay? What would have been better would have been to provide an ID or name and
I
date of
said
birth.
I didn't have an ID.
Yeah, but then you told me I'm not going to tell you your name and you don't answer questions. That didn't work out very well, did it?
Okay.
Go ahead and take a seat for me, Mr. English.
Sure. I can't wait to see a video of me
Sit
pulling
back for
out
me,
door
Mr. English.
handles.
Sit back for me, all right? Here in Brookhaven by policy, I have to book you in, all right? So that's all I'm doing, all right? Now, Mr. English, as of right now, you're being charged with obstruction for right now. Now, that can be a city citation upon release, or that could be a warrant, all right? I just want to let you know where I stand, all right? So for me to, whether I write you a city citation and release you or anything like that, I'm going to need your correct name and birthday, all right?
Brian English.
Hold on, let me finish now. Let me give you a disclaimer, all right? I'm going to ask once, all right? And then whatever you give me, I'm going to take it so I can see if I can find you in the system, all right? If you give a false name, then you're going to jail and I'm putting you in as Jane Doe, all right? And then you're going to sit there until they can identify you, all right? I will hate that for you to have to go through all that, so just work with me and we can get this over with. I will really appreciate it. Thank you.
Me and you are cool. It's
All
a
right.
dude trying to strong arm me. Come on, man.
So, Mr. Brian, B-R-I-A-N.
B-R-I-A-N.
Got your phone in your can and put it in my front seat for right now, and then we'll go from there.
Yes, sir.
So that's when we got out there. But the guest went upstairs.
But luckily, the guest was outside when we pulled up and said, "Yeah, that's him." But then he left, and I don't know where he went.
He went to go get he was putting his clothes in his car because he said, my plane leaves at 3 in the morning. I'm not leaving my car there. I'm parking my car. You can't have me park at the front because it's a it's a tone zone right there. He's like, well, y'all just going to let people break in my car? I'm going to wake up and it's going to be glass everywhere. Make sure we're not trying to get it. I just woke up out there. He's still out there. I wish I knew his room number.
So there's no cameras in the front.
He said not facing the parking deck.
Well, she's telling me everything that the guest told her. I mean, he was.
See if I can get his room number from the bar.
It's definitely loitering and prowling. He's pulling on door handles. And then the reason that they called was because he was going, this guy's pulling on everyone's door. You just pulled on my car door and y'all don't do anything about it? Like, why are y'all allowing this? Yeah, he was here. He was outside when we got here.
So they saw that we were standing here and pointing him out.
Yeah. So the person, the witness, he walked. They were only like as far as this to each other. He's like, yeah, that's the one that was pulling on door handles. The guy's like, I don't know what the heck you're talking about. He's like, that was him. But when we pulled up, he's just like eating his ice cream. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. You don't got any proof. Oh, thank goodness. So. Thank you. You're very welcome. So he's denying everything. Says that he didn't know what anybody's talking about. Did you? Can you describe him? You saw
a white guy had a black sweatshirt on. He had a hoodie on when I saw him.
Was he, how tall do you think he was?
Like that tall.
Yeah.
Did you see him out here when we pulled up?
Yeah, he started walking towards this way, it looked like.
Was that
but he
him?
had a different shirt, like he took his sweatshirt off, it looked like, or something. So.
You saw him, right, when we pulled up. That was him out there. You already told me.
Is he older or younger?
Middle age.
Middle age?
Yeah.
If you want to, hold on.
I wasn't in trouble, it was so weird. I was putting stuff in the car, and all of a sudden I see somebody like walking in between cars, and I'm like, all right, I don't know anything.
Where was your car parked?
Right here.
On the left side?
Yeah, right to the left.
And
he came right up this way.
Can you remember if he was wearing pants or shorts?
Pants.
Because I know when we pulled up, the officer was talking to you,
Yeah.
and then we went and talked to the other guy. Was that the guy?
It looked like him, but it looked like he took off, like he pulled down his hoodie or something. He looked a little different. I don't want to get anybody in trouble if it's not, but
The guy that, the only guy that was out here in a black hoodie, we just asked him for his name, and we were just going to ask him who he was and say, have a good night, and don't pull on door handles, because we didn't know if it was him or not. He refused and wanted to argue, and he was acting like it was him, so.
yeah, it was just,
All he had to do was.
I'm putting my stuff in my car, and I'm like, all right, it just.
Would you mind just writing in a statement what happened? Like you went up to your car and what you saw and what he was wearing, what he looked like?
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
He had the black hoodie on when I first saw it.
And it was a white guy, right?
Yes.
Have him watch through the window.
Okay. Can I borrow your eyeballs for a second? I just want you to look out the glass here and just verify. Yeah, you can just stay right here, and then.
Yeah, that looked like the guy.
Yeah.
But he had the hoodie on. He had a black hoodie. Did you find his sweatshirt at all?
Let me ask them.
He definitely had like a black sweatshirt.
He said he had a black hoodie.
Yeah, he dropped it. It's over there.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Took it off.
The officers asked the witness to identify Mr. English from inside the hotel while he was sitting in the back seat of the police vehicle. This type of on-the-scene identification procedure is commonly known as a show-up, where a witness is presented with a single individual rather than a lineup of several individuals shortly after a crime has occurred to determine if the individual is the perpetrator. Now, because only one individual is presented to the witness, this method has a higher potential for misidentification compared to a lineup or photo array, where witnesses view multiple individuals. In recognition of the suggestive nature of show-ups, these identifications can sometimes be suppressed in a subsequent criminal case, meaning that the prosecution cannot submit evidence of the identification at trial because the introduction of the unreliable identification would be a violation of due process. In the 1972 case of Neal versus Biggers, the Supreme Court devised a two-step test for assessing the constitutionality of the admission of an identification. First, courts must determine whether the original identification procedure was unduly suggestive. If it was, the court moves on to the second step, which evaluates whether, under the totality of the circumstances, the identification was nonetheless reliable. In determining whether an identification procured under unduly suggestive procedures is still reliable, the Supreme Court identified 5 factors for courts to consider in evaluating the likelihood of misidentification. Now quoting, "The opportunity of the witness to view the criminal at the time of the crime, the witness's degree of attention, the accuracy of the witness's prior description of the criminal, the level of certainty demonstrated by the witness at the confrontation, and the length of time between the crime and the confrontation. Here, Mr. English would have a legitimate argument that the show-up procedure used was unnecessarily suggestive and unreliable, as he was presented to the witness while handcuffed in the backseat of a police vehicle, and the witness was instructed to view him from a distance through a glass window. However, even if a court determined that the procedure was unduly suggestive, it is important to understand that the court could still allow for the admission of the identification if it determined that it was still reliable and the danger of misidentification was low.
You know how I'm just putting stuff on my car and I look to the right, I'm like, this doesn't look right. Like, he's not trying to get in his car and then he wants the next car. And I'm like, listen, I'm trying to go to bed. Yeah, just trying to.
Which car was yours?
So we had
Gee, I wonder why he filled the
black
ID.
car over here.
I wonder why. I'm like, you're acting guilty. Just tell us who you are and we'll say, hey, have a good night. Make sure you don't pull the door handles. That was all it was.
Anybody who's ever had a run-in with us knows that. Like, you give a
yeah, it's
ID, right, if there's nothing else for you, have a good night.
Nobody took a picture of you, so how do we know?
That's what I mean. Like,
Now we're going to go the
put
extra
stuff in my
step.
car. And, you know, it's
That
not
loitering
like
citation.
that's something
So
that's
he was on his far left side.
No.
right
There
down
are no
here.
cameras out front.
So our car was right
Can I
here.
can I see the video? I go,
He
oh,
was
what
right
video?
down there
I don't know.
walking up the side.
It doesn't matter. That's
And I
correct.
just said,
But- 'cause
anyone
he's-
said, I told her, I said, I think somebody might be trying to
So he
break
dropped
into
his
some
video?
cars.
Yeah, once he got over there, he took everything off.
So in order for us to trespass him,
Yes, please. I got
you have to tell him and we have to record you. Yeah.
Because I watched him try to get in the row.
Okay, like the flip the door handle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you just fill out the top part there, I'd appreciate that.
What's your name?
I was loading my
You're probably already in the system, aren't you?
So I was loading my car.
Yeah, if you just want to come tell him. I got you.
Yeah,
That'd be
and I'm
great.
like, I don't think I can.
She's going to CT him real quick.
Alright, sir, she got something to tell you real quick.
Hi. So on behalf of Double Tree North Druid Hills, we're going to ask that you do not return to the hotel. If you do, we're going to have to call the police and trespass you.
Miss Gwen,
Yes.
you remember last night you gave me cookies?
No, I wasn't here last
The
night.
night before that?
He doesn't have a room, right? It's box.
I'm not certain who has the room under whose name.
It's under
It's under his name.
Hoblade.
Okay, so
That's our big boss. But listen, I was not opening doors, I was not grabbing doors anywhere. But I took trash to that garbage can over there.
What did he say his name was?
I don't remember.
Let's get that from Custer.
Yeah, because I can check to make sure he's not in house.
Yeah.
Officer's gonna go back upstairs, am I good? I got
Yeah,
signed. He has my phone number.
Oh, you got it. You got all his info? He's good?
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay, thank you so much for your help.
Thank you.
Okay, last name?
Yeah. Hey, Cuff, what's his name last name?
Loitering, obstruction, CT. Also, back in the day, I was told that if you say I did not do something, it means you did it. If you say I didn't do something, it generally means that you were telling the truth. You said I did not, so just wanted to know that. Do you need me to get the fingerprint scanner?
Let's see, I'm trying to look into that.
Sounds like he's from Midwest, so might not be Georgia.
So what are we doing him?
Loitering,
So
obstruction.
in addition to everything else, his boss has a room with 8 people on it. He's not one of the people on the room list.
According to local arrest records, Mr. English was arrested on charges of obstruction and loitering and prowling. Unfortunately, very little information is available about this encounter, and it is unclear whether Mr. English was formally charged with any crimes or if he filed any complaints or pursued legal action following his arrest. Overall, the Brookhaven officers get a C- because although I believe it is likely that a court would find that they had reasonable suspicion to detain Mr. English and probable cause to arrest him, they maintained unprofessional and condescending demeanors throughout the encounter and missed multiple opportunities to de-escalate the situation and exercise discretion. Having probable cause to arrest someone does not always make it the best decision, and in this case, I believe that the officers should have waited to arrest Mr. English until they had gathered sufficient evidence confirming that he was the one pulling on the door handles, rather than for simply refusing to identify himself. I also found it troubling that the officers repeatedly discussed Mr. English's attempt attempts to assert his rights as evidence of his guilt. Although Mr. English was potentially mistaken about whether he was required to identify himself, the officer's attitudes regarding individuals who refused to identify themselves was highly concerning, as many citizens invoke their rights not because they have something to hide, but because they believe in the Constitution. The idea that only guilty people invoke their constitutional rights is dangerous, and this attitude has no place in modern policing. Mr. English also gets a C- for failing to identify himself when he was likely required to do so, and demonstrating significant misunderstandings regarding the evidentiary standards required for legal detentions and arrests. The evidence is conflicting as to whether or not Mr. English was the man pulling on car door handles, but even in situations where officers detain the wrong suspect, the seizure is still legal and identification requirements still apply as long as the officers have reasonable suspicion to support the detention. This is a common misunderstanding that we see on this channel, and it is essential that citizens understand that they can be lawfully detained even when they have done nothing wrong. Mr. English also repeatedly requested to see video footage of him pulling on door handles, implying that such evidence was necessary to detain or arrest him. However, there is no requirement that officers have video evidence to make an arrest, and prosecutors have no obligation to present video evidence in court. In most cases, eyewitness testimony is more than sufficient to sustain a criminal conviction, which requires proof of guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, let alone to justify an arrest based on probable cause or a detention requiring mere reasonable suspicion. Accordingly, while I appreciate Mr. English's attempts to assert his rights, I would encourage him to take steps to better educate himself on the limitations of those rights before refusing police commands in any future encounters. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic that you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out my second channel for even more police interaction content.